Welcome to the Two Big Guys at Grover podcast.
Sorry.
We got so much stuff on.
I'm not used to having this big shield in front of me.
Microphone's
What?
gonna work. What?
What? Man, oh man.
All right. Well, this is the
Social.
this would be
distancing.
the third version of
Yeah, but here's the thing: we can't just keep calling them coronaviruses because we're gonna be stuck in this for a while. I mean, we're gonna live through this.
This is every day.
Yeah, this is like.
New-
well, I don't wear this every.
new normal.
Do you wear
The
that
new
every
normal.
day?
Every day I wear this.
I bet if I saw you come in the grocery,
Every day.
if I saw you come in the grocery store wearing that,
You'd hit the ground.
I'd truly leave. I would not even be walking around.
I was looking for the gas
Respirator?
the one on our logo.
Yeah.
Dude, that would be sweet.
The
That would be sweet.
100X Studios, clean, disinfected, and
we
ready
broke
to
through
go.
the barriers and the roadblocks
Yep.
to come to the office so
Yep.
we could do our podcast.
In all seriousness, we have been closed. Like
Yeah.
doors locked. Nobody's been in here.
because we
really are under
because you're
stay
not
at
an
home.
essential business, and we are at a
We are.
yeah.
We're an essential business to rodeo.
You are, but there's not rodeo right now.
You're right.
Let's be honest.
Well, our community, our county went to the
Stay-at-home order.
Stay-at-home order.
Yep.
What 9 days ago?
Yeah.
And then
93 days ago, it feels
God.
like.
But then the governor just came out and did a statewide yesterday.
I'm shedding the hat, guys,
Yeah.
because I'm
Right.
so hot already.
Which the statewide starts Monday,
the 6th,
correct? So
running through the 24th, something like
right, which we're already in it here in Platte County. It takes 45 minutes to go grocery shopping now,
oh, no, it's so
Um,
much better.
or at least it did me this morning before I got here to stock up so that
that. Were you late this morning because
I don't
of
have
that?
to. Yeah, I was late to the studio because of that, but I'm not gonna have to drive back to town for a while. So we've got plenty of food.
The grocery store is an experience, though, right now. Where we live, it is, at least. I mean, because
It's full of pleasant, nice people though. What I
Yeah.
found out this morning was there's not a big scared stay away from everybody, but it's a lot of
Courtesy and respect.
a lot of people were wearing masks. I was wearing one, so you couldn't see smiles necessarily, but it was kind of
You don't have a
could
smile, by the
you could
way.
tell- you could tell in their facial expressions that hey, we're all going to get through this. It's already lasted longer than we thought it would.
yeah, but you know what? Here's the thing. Back to the whole grocery store.
Is what it is.
The people that, when I've gone to the grocery store, because I've kind of been the one for our family that goes, I try and get in and get out.
Mhm.
You can't get in and get out. Like
No.
it's not. You
No.
can't. I mean, you don't just make that one. Part of it's because you're going for so much more stuff.
You're going
like,
for so much more
yeah.
stuff.
It's not like, hey, I'm just gonna go grab milk and eggs.
Right, because I can go back tomorrow.
Right.
Because you're
It's-
not going to go
It's
back
not
tomorrow.
that.
You called me about Dollar General and said, hey, they got a shipment. And
Yeah.
we were low on paper goods in our house.
Mhm.
And so I was like, all right, well, tired of using my wife's T-shirts. And I'm just kidding. I would never, ever do that more than
Washable
once or
diapers.
twice a week. Yeah.
and-
No, but so I run over there right to grab some, and it was entertaining because there was literally a woman and she had 3 kids, and they are all about 14, 15, 16. Maybe it was like one of them was her kid and the other one was like the boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever. They were loading up like pre-coronavirus announcement stuff.
Yeah.
They were loading up, and there wasn't very much in there, as you saw,
On paper products?
on paper products, right?
I still.
And there's signs that say one item
Of each.
of
Right.
each, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what size it is, you only get one item of it. So get the big one if you want the big one. Well, she passed through and they were grabbing this soap, they were grabbing a bunch of stuff, and got up to they were at the other register, the one about 20 feet away. And all of a sudden I hear her say, well, nobody told me.
Except for the big sign that's back there, right when you
Yeah.
you
And I know the
like
clerk,
about 40 of them across.
the clerk that was helping me looks up and goes, and give me that look of, are
Yeah.
you,
Are you kidding me?
I said, man, common sense is just, it's lost,
Mhm.
but
Well,
it was
you-
entertaining. I kind of laughed at it. I shouldn't laugh, but I laughed. I just chuckled.
What I don't understand though is like the stuff that is on the shelves, and then the stuff that's not on the shelves. I understand everybody goes to the bathroom. I get that, but the stocking up on toilet paper just still makes no sense to me. I understand you don't want to come back to town for
I
that.
think it's just
Hey,
a fear thing. It's
I think
it's
it is
nothing
too.
more than just people are afraid of,
And I'll
of
be
not having toilet
as
paper.
we got low,
I bet you did.
we got low in our house,
Yeah.
right? And because we purposely didn't do the whole run and load
We didn't
up.
either. We
Carrie's like, should we? Or Jordan's like, well then,
Got
you know,
low. Yeah.
yeah. And then we got low, and then so you're like, well, all right, we'll keep an eye out for it, and good thing you'd called and stuff, but it was like, I didn't want to buy into it,
Right.
but because I didn't buy into it, now every half the houses in Kansas City are full. Their garages are full of toilet paper, and we're empty. So
Yeah.
That's kind of how we were. When I had to run in there yesterday and saw him, and the guy was literally putting it out of the boxes, putting it on the shelves, and I looked over and said, "Is that necessary?" And he goes, "Nope." And like he just felt like it was just a waste. Like
Yeah.
just leave the box right there because somebody's gonna
Just
take
let
it
somebody
out.
take it
Don't
out.
even let me put it on the shelf. But
Well, that's like last time I was in the store before today. That was how the eggs were. There was one box of eggs left, and it was just a box. You pulled a carton out. You can only have one carton anyway, and which I think I have a feeling more rationing things are probably coming our way soon, and I just pray we're out of this by the middle of May.
I felt
we'll
it
see.
because I walked by and we're out of Q-tips, right? Something as simple as a Q-tip. I walked by, I reached down, and we've talked about this on the show before. I normally don't buy one of anything, right? I mean,
Yeah.
and that goes through even everyday life. So I reached down because I know the front bathroom and the back bathroom, for my son, and it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna grab two. I put them in the basket, and I stopped. I looked back down, and there weren't any left, right? And my inclination was like, well, I don't want to take the last one because someone else is going to. We'll get by with our 500 Q-tips over the next week or so, and maybe we'll find some more,
as you take that off, and I know others that are listening to the podcast can't see that, but you reminded me of your dad with his beard.
Oh, the scruff.
Yeah, just how his dad always had this.
Yep, I had a pretty good beard going last night. I shaved it
Yeah.
out.
That's what that looked like. That white beard on
Yep.
you. It looked like your dad.
Yeah, oh, that's cool. That's cool.
But back to that, yes, I wish there were more of that, more
Yeah.
people like that, because it's not.
And I'm clearly not the standard on people, but I'm just.
I think that's part of the where we live too.
Mhm.
Yeah,
People that are in the bigger cities and things, it really is a dog eat dog. Like they
Mhm.
don't, because if they don't, then they won't. I mean,
Right.
they will go without if they don't act like that.
well, and it was like we talked yesterday. Do I drive to Platte City or do I go into the city to Aldi's and Walmart? And so glad I just stayed in Platte City to go to Price Chopper, which is our local grocery store. And the first hour of the day from 7 to 8 is for seniors,
Immune suppressed,
pregnant women,
pregnant.
and people with immune
Mhm.
disorders or whatever. And it was cool to pull in the parking lot and see there was about 4 or 5 cars that had people in them, and we all waited until about 5 till 8, and then we went inside.
Yeah.
So
I think
there's a respect issue going on around here, and that's pretty cool to see.
I think it's we feel it because we're in the Midwest, but for most people, I hope that they feel the same way as we do, and I think they do. Those that listen to the show, I mean, we hear
Mhm.
about it and things, and we know a lot of people, and there's a lot of folks out there that just they either are buying into the media or they're not.
Yep.
But if they don't, either way, we're still in a pandemic, and people have to pay attention. And
I think what's cool, I haven't seen a lot of road rage. I haven't seen a lot of jerky people. It's just not. And you would think, when people are, what is it called when you're not allowed?
yeah,
When you have limitations
Right,
and stuff, you
right.
feel constricted in that whole. I mean, I feel it at home. I mean, I'm like, about to tear down the walls. I'm tired of watching TV. I'm tired of
social media.
social media. I keep putting it down, but then again, even Carrie said last night, social media seems to be the quickest source of updates. With the governor
Yeah,
speaking, things
Of
like
any
that.
information,
Right.
Yeah.
And the news they're quoting,
Yeah.
such and such website reports that.
Mm. We're-
So
Let's talk social media here in just
Yeah.
a second. But let's first off give you an update in the PRCA and in the PBR, and we are proud to announce there is
Still on the road.
nothing going on. George Taylor with the Steve Kenyon the other day on Cowboy Channel, I believe that was yesterday or the day before, said we were up to about 70 rodeos that had been canceled or postponed.
Yeah.
One of those being the Ram National Circuit Finals. canceled now is the Will Rogers Stampede in Claremore, Oklahoma, one of my rodeos. That was the first rodeo I've had cancel this year, but my rodeo season doesn't start till May. PBR is still on hold until till it opens back up and we can go do something. So
let's talk about that for a second, because I think that even though we talk PRCA and PBR a lot, just because it's the worlds we live in today, we came from another world at some point in our careers, and nobody's really talking about the little rodeos. Nobody's talking about the those smaller amateur rodeos that are going to be affected just as much as these pro rodeos are.
Yep.
And I think that that's something that a lot of those rodeos are put on, coming from a stock contractor family. We carried that to be able to put on those rodeos. And so I think we're going to see a real hit, not only to contract personnel. I feel for them, but my heart really is for those stock contractors that are still feeding their stock right now.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
That are getting that are still having to get calves ready.
There's no reprieve.
Yeah, there's not going to be anything that gives those guys a break this year. And so I hope that, with that being said, those that are listening that are competitors, enter those rodeos too. Make sure you take the time to go to those rodeos.
Don't you think that they will? Because everybody's going to be
I hope
scrambling.
so.
I think so.
But I think at the same time, I think we're going to be limited on entry fees. I think that's going to be a hindrance. Yeah.
Yeah, if you didn't have good first quarter, Santone or whatever it was.
Well, but I'm talking about the guys that are at home, those weekend warrior guys, those the guys that maybe at one point in their career were going to pro deals, now they're just going to amateur deals. They could be out of work right now.
Yep.
Their wives are getting let go from their job. I mean, and so that's going to affect their rodeo season more than it ever has. And people, we see it on this side saying, "Oh, we can't enter. We're not going. We don't get to go to this rodeo." And these guys are saying, "Man, I may not get to rodeo at all. Like I've still got to feed my family, and I can't feed my family. And we all know you can't feed your family rodeoing."
Well, through some of our conversations, over the last 6 to 8 weeks with even some of the PBR guys, some of the guys who have made the decision to quit roofing, quit fencing, quit doing that this was going to be the year that they were all in. Bradley Britton, who jumped in, came in, as we talked about. His preparation for that was not doing his job and focusing and training. He ended up getting hurt, having surgery, but yet you take those guys, and he wasn't the only one. I mean, we had a handful of those guys, because we were saying, what's the difference? What's bringing all the young guns in? The big push, and a lot of them are saying, just we made it our job. And it's like, oh.
Well, I think this afternoon you're going to run up, grab some feed up at the mill.
Yep.
You're going to start seeing more horses stand in Western sports as a whole, because guys can't afford to send that extra colt for an extra 2 weeks or a month to get rode.
Yeah.
And so now all of a sudden we're going to have an influx of horses. And there's lots of different things that can be talked about, but because one, you take this time of the year to start a new colt, or you're seasoning another horse and you're getting them ready, whether you're team roping or calf roping or hazing or whatever it is. And now you're not doing that because you're still keeping your good horse legged up, and you're spending your time keeping that horse. I mean, I've watched multiple videos of guys running calves and steers this last week on their good horses, and I thought, man, I walked completely past it.
So how do you think of guys like Cord McCoy, right? Who obviously partners a lot with his livestock. We understand how that game works, but still, you got to feed, you got to exercise, you got to keep them in shape.
It's not stop,
right? So, because I was talking with Braxton and Josh Thompson. Braxton had surgery again, and we were talking. They were giving me an update and stuff, and Braxton had, even as young as he is, said, I want to start raising bulls. I want to get into it. And so he had been talking with Cord. Maybe I'm letting something out of the bag. I hope I'm not. He was talking with Cord about how to start that process. And Cord, being Cord, said, I'll help you, right? And let's do this. But now, it's all of a sudden you spend money, you get 2 or 3 bulls, and now you're feeding them, and they're not going anywhere.
They have nowhere to go.
They're not, they're not competing in the ABBIs. They're not. So you're just racking up. The animals still need to be fed.
Well,
I think what people are realizing, though, in the world is that everything trickles down. What affects one person actually affects another person, which actually affects another person, actually affects another person. When we're when we're busy going and blowing, when the stock market's good, when the economy's up,
Yeah, you
everybody
just
has
don't.
jobs, you don't think about
Yeah.
anybody else other than what you're doing. You don't think about how important that the farmer is, or how important that really that doctor is and that nurse is, because you don't want to go see you don't want to go see a doctor or a nurse, or, well, I'm going to get a second opinion because I don't believe him. Well, it probably went to school a heck of a lot longer than you did.
Right.
You know, and so it's kind of maybe one of those gut checks, unfortunately, that we needed. I hope we don't get hit in the gut very much longer, but
Amen.
maybe it was needed.
Yeah. Again, I think that I hope to see a lot of guys enter a lot of rodeos.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and if fees have got to drop, I think there has to be. We're gonna have
Think
to
about
make
the
some
crews.
economic changes.
Think about the guys that are just. I think about this
Driving the
this-
trucks, setting up the arenas,
Right.
just and
that
it
people
trickles
never
down.
really see,
It
but
trickles down.
the guys pulling the gates. You know, Mitch
Mhm.
and the whole crew with people. It's like, okay, what are they going to do? You know, are they counting this for their livelihood? Just like, you know, and that's not any different than the hairdressers and the.
Well, and I was gonna
barbers
say this goes sports wide though, because I know like
Absolutely.
my oldest daughter plays competitive softball. Jordan coaches all week long in a competitive. They're not doing anything. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I say not. They're not playing ball. Like
Mm-hmm.
we've already had three. We would have already had 3 tournaments already this year, and she's not playing ball at all.
I will say this: that you know, you brought up Jordan with the baseball facility. What it has done is made us all look at other ways how we can either make a living, you know, bring in some cash, streams of income or whatever, and how you can broaden what we do to touch more people. We're pretty specific with the helmet.
Mm-hmm.
We are extremely specific. It's not something that's like, okay, well, we can stop our production and we can make masks and sell masks, or we can do something else.
Yeah.
We are
Right.
what we are.
Right.
And I'll say this is, Jordan has spent the last week developing online coaching. There's already been some on there, you know, but he's doing that where he can interact with his, 60 people that he's doing lessons with, and then the other members of their facility. So one, they can keep that, but we all know this. It's all mental, but there is a physical activity part of it, and how do you facilitate that?
Well, and if you don't come out of this with some ideas, or better than you were beforehand, or whatever it is, then what are you doing?
Right.
If you're sitting around all day watching
but-
Tiger King and all that other crap that's on TV,
But I'll tell you
right
what,
now,
it's
not
not
trying
real
to get
hard.
better at it.
It's not real hard to get lost in the spiral of what this is.
It is.
I mean, it does,
yeah.
and it can grab you that fast.
Yep. It
Guilty.
is.
Guilty.
Oh.
I've watched, and it's like, but it's an escape because
Well, but I'm saying just the downward, the feeling and the drowning of what's going on in society. Because the news is not going to give you anything that's uplifting.
No, it's not. It's not. And
At
when
least
you-
Netflix did give us Tiger King.
Right. And and I look at schedules and get worried about, if this goes on much longer, I don't have a season. My what I do for a living as an announcer is greatly diminished.
Well, you haven't
You know,
worked in like 17 years.
I haven't worked. Yeah, I don't work. I don't work, dude. I just run my mouth. This just in, Jess Lockwood is still at home mending up. And Shad Mayfield's still number 1 in the world.
Okay, so let's talk social media. Because that's what we've
Yeah,
had. That's
exactly.
that's what we've been living on,
yeah.
as the rest of the world has too. Because are you tired of social media yet?
Absolutely, positively.
I'm over part of them. It's like, here's the deal. It's like it's like the NFR got over 2 weeks ago, and everybody's at home bored. And the only thing is, they can't analyze the flipping NFR and bitch about the judges.
You know what?
That's the only thing that's different right now.
No, but you know what? And I'm
Posting
I'm probably
replays
gonna
that says
put my
here's
foot in my mouth right here. But the 2 weeks we come home after the NFR, so many of us are sick.
Yeah.
Like we've got the Vegas crud. That's the only thing I don't have right now.
Which could have been the coronavirus. We
I mean,
don't
I'm
know.
just saying,
Yeah.
we always come home from there.
Yep.
Not just us, everybody. I mean, after
Everybody.
you spend that, because for us, as most know, we're PBR, then we're NFR, and so by the time we leave
You're
Vegas,
30 days in
we're
Vegas.
30 days in Vegas, and yeah,
wah,
Yeah.
ready, yeah.
But that's the only difference right now is I'm not sick from like it feels
The
like
Vegas
it because,
virus?
Yeah, I don't have the Vegas virus, and I'm
Yep.
like it's like post NFR. We're just hanging out, waiting
Yeah.
for everything to kick back up. And
I think that I appreciate the I've got to discern, and I look at things and it's news to me, and my son can look at it and it's not news to him because he's already got it off of Reddit or something else like that. But the whole part of Facebook is like, okay, everybody's bored, I'm bored, and you're like, I'm so tired of it. I'm putting my phone away. I'm not even doing that. But then 5 minutes later, you pick it up, you kind of scan to make sure nothing.
You're like, I think I'm just gonna put it away today.
Yeah.
I
And you
did turn
can't.
my phone off the other night though for the first time, probably since I got the phone. I physically turned my phone off.
Yeah.
I was just like to the point where all I kept seeing was in your camera roll. What's the first thing you come to that's gold?
Yeah.
I'm like, for goodness sake!
Now, my anti-favorite one, my not favorite one, is the whole, the first time you saw me, for my world, is first time you saw me play football, what did you think? Former players and stuff. I get it, and there's a couple of them I'm like, yeah, what, man, I'm the one that recruited you, so I thought you were a badass. Obviously you got a scholarship. Or then the other ones that you go, I can't say.
Yeah.
But, or, the first time you saw me riding bulls, what did you think?
Yeah.
Don't post that.
Well,
Oh my God. And then you go from there to the celebrities calling for Trump's resignation.
Oh,
and Hollywood should go on strike until Trump resigns.
I hope Hollywood's on strike.
I hope they stay on strike.
Go-
past-
Me too,
go
because you know
for
what? It honestly, I saw on social media the other day somebody posted that was like, NBA players are writing checks, the truckers are trucking. I don't know if you've seen that post talking about like, and you read down through and it's like, yeah, this is real society,
Yep.
and that's what people forget
Mhm.
because the rest is smoke and mirrors compared to what's still going. Truckers are still trucking, nurses and doctors are still going to work. The rest of us are sitting at home. We don't have any sports to watch.
Right.
It's
It's been cool to see though the people that are being creative.
and there are some.
Some of the
Which,
artists.
some of the artists that
Yeah.
are doing some shows online. I watched John Party the other night. We watched Garth the other night. I believe Tallman has a podcast getting ready to
He's got
go
a home
out.
studio.
He's-
It's rolling.
The home studio
for
is
him.
up and running.
That's right.
Cannot wait until
Right.
the Bob Tallman podcast comes out. There's been a lot of people expressing their faith online. Got people that that you wouldn't even think about doing that. That's
Right.
been cool. It's allowed me and Becky to do some stuff, which we have our Witness Wednesdays. Becky has a new podcast now, Motorhome Mondays, talking about the way we live, which is a little
For
in a
those that
motorhome.
don't know,
traditional.
they really do live in a
RV.
motorhome.
Yeah, we live in a motorhome full time.
Full time.
Yep.
It's parked
Yep, it's
in the way.
it's
It doesn't-
different. It's parked in the way, but
Doesn't seem the most, I don't know what the word is, but
conventional.
conventional, especially right now when you're not driving,
Right.
and you're
Yeah.
at home because of the virus, but
Yeah.
all the other days you're traveling from X to Y.
Yeah, and then it makes total sense.
But think about
Amen.
speaking of that, because I thought of this. So I pulled in Costco the other day, and there's an RV parked out front,
Mhm.
and they've got their car on the back, and their car is just completely full of everything. Like they've literally packed up and left forever.
Yeah.
But I thought, think about all those older people that at RV, year round. Man, yeah.
Davey Kim,
Davey Kim.
Davey and Nikki Kim.
Yeah.
They're just
This is
out,
not affected.
They're
I mean,
just out in the wilderness, and
Yeah.
I guarantee they ain't doing nothing different because Davey figures out a way to boondock,
yeah.
and 90% of the places they go, they'll just pull into a national park. They got solar panels, whole 9 yards, and they just live out there in the wilderness.
But I
It's-
passed that RV, and I thought the same thing. I thought, man, that guy's got a good idea.
Yeah, I would not mind.
You could though.
Would be all right to drive it around a little bit. I wouldn't be.
I do miss
against
that right now. I know we're only a couple weeks in.
You mean driving?
Mhm.
Oh my goodness, I'm not driving at all. Like
Yeah.
even
Well, you
across
miss it now
town.
because why?
Well, because we're not doing it,
Well, but personally,
huh?
Well,
you
you got your truck
my
back.
truck's back,
Yeah.
got your baby back.
So okay,
Yeah.
let's say- okay. There's a good one. What's the one thing you miss the most then, Cody?
Sending my kids to school.
Good call.
I'm serious. No, let me talk about that for a second because
Well,
I think
you
that's
don't
a
have to
true. I think that's
qualify.
a true one because, I love my kids dearly.
Rationalize
They-
it however you like
They-
to. But
no,
go
I'm not
ahead,
even going to
go ahead.
rationalize it, but I'm going to say this: teachers, education providers, they're underrated. Because
they are now. They are now. They
How about
weren't.
that?
They
They
weren't a
weren't.
month ago,
Exactly.
but they are now.
But I'm telling you right now. But what I have found with my kids from 16 to 9, socially,
Mm-hmm.
they need school.
Yeah.
You hear the principals and the teachers are saying, don't keep your children from the social.
Yeah,
do not
it's.
ground them from their phones. Don't ground. Let them interact.
I
with
want to
us.
ground them from their phones. Believe
You want
me.
to, but it's the worst thing in the world.
I know.
Can you imagine being a middle schooler, as tough as middle school is, just with the whole, the excluding, getting excluded, kind of that distancing, all that kind of stuff that already happens, and then now you just magnify it. High schoolers, and especially in the area that we live in, with the trends and stuff that we have here, you think, oh, how does this affect?
Well, I've noticed it with my youngest. His teacher's done a great job of sending out there every morning. We get his to-do list, his schoolwork for the day, and a couple days a week they do those Zooms, and his entire class. I tell you what, he loves to see the Zoom. Like, you see him sit in front of his computer, and all of a sudden there's all these kids on there, and
Gets to see all
they're
his
all
buddies.
going crazy. And as chaotic as it is, for the next couple hours after he's done it, he's back. It's like he's turned back down, like he's back to normal, because there's that little bit of normalcy for him.
Fed him.
Yeah, but and you don't realize it
get it.
because it feels like summertime right now.
Yeah.
Just because the sun's been shining and kids are out of school and they're home.
But what it's
We
doing,
can't wait to push them back.
But they're not. But they can't be around each other.
Yeah.
right? And but here's the thing: all that illustrates is, it really is us as adults, because we do it too.
Yeah.
We, it's like we want put your phone down. Put your phone down. Wait a minute, I'm not putting my phone down because I want to read. I want to see. I want to do it. It's like, you imagine how much we get.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and so mine is probably sending my kids to school right now, because I think that there's
There's a need for it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there really is. It's a
the
need.
social side of school is, I think, what I'm talking about.
There's voids you can't
I
fill.
love the educational side of it, but the social side for the kids, I think, kids are different now too than we were.
Mhm.
I mean, we had a phone with a 50-foot cord on it around the house. I mean, that way you could talk to whoever. That there was one phone line. It wasn't. They didn't each have their own way to.
Right.
And so that's so different. But yeah, the social side of schooling for my kids, I think, is probably the one thing right now that. Because I'm telling you, I'm a terrible teacher.
What do you miss the most?
He is a terrible teacher.
I've no doubt.
I've already had 3 complaints
Yeah.
from students in that.
I don't mind being the
district.
principal. I've been to
That
lunch.
district.
The other day I was the principal of the lunch league, just like everybody else is posted. I feel it. But I'm telling you right now, I'll do the principal and the lunch lady. I'm not the whole teacher side. I just don't. Part of it is I don't understand Common Core math. I'll admit it. I started doing math the other day with him. I'm flying through it, and he's looking at me. He goes, "You can't do it like that." And I'm thought, we're getting the same answer. I don't understand.
Yeah. No, I think for me it's I mean, a couple of things. I think, like, outside of my 4 walls of my house, what I miss most is probably the interaction and be able to view, because we troll all the time. We check, Facebook, seeing people, how they're riding, what's going on in their lives, catching up. Facebook's an awesome thing. It really is. There's some negatives about it, but I miss, Sunday night, Monday, of watching videos of people riding.
Right.
And it's the coach in me,
Yeah.
because I want to watch guys. I want to catch up and want to, just it's a way to communicate. It gives that opportunity for us to say, hey, great ride this weekend, John. Hey, I missed that part of it because I feel like there's a hole, and there is. I think it's awesome in my 4 walls of the house because my kids they don't have the responsibilities and the expectations that, they're a little bit older. But I'm enjoying spending time with my wife, doing some things there, and and she's a teacher, and it looks like they're going to be out for another 24 days, and so she's probably tired of me, but I think what I miss most is just kind of watching the activity of our industry, and because I really, really enjoy that part.
Speaking of that, Brett Custer, if you're listening, put your damn vest on.
Was he riding?
He's riding without a vest?
Yes, getting on practice
Gosh,
bulls
he
without a
knows better than
vest.
that. He knows better than that.
Anybody that's listening to this, look, you're riding bulls, put your vest on. We say it all the time. We want you to wear a helmet.
Wear any helmet.
Wear any helmet.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
at least wear a vest.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you really want to go to the hospital at this time in the world?
No, that's
Well,
my point.
hey,
Like, hey,
so-
let's get stepped on and go to the because I'm telling you, all it takes is a dew claw or
Yeah.
something simple that you don't realize because those vests do.
Hey.
We could spend an hour talking about this.
Mhm.
So we jump on Facebook, we watch, and and I'll tell you what, the Rodrigues, the three boys down there, they're active all the time. They're either training dogs, and they're not around people. They're just out in their wood.
Yeah.
They have land and stuff, and they may have 40 dogs in a house that they're training every day, and plus they're riding bulls every day.
Speaking of that, Rodriguez, I got a bulldog to send you.
Yeah, he called me about that. He said, "Hey, how you boys making it up there?" So we're not.
We're not.
And but they're but then the concern is like, man, I hope knock on wood, something doesn't happen and they have to go to the hospital and be around that crap. Be around
Well, down
big
where they're at,
exposed-
especially,
Yeah,
well,
'cause
yeah,
it's-
Louisiana's hit hard
and they're not too far out of the city.
Yep.
So.
and found out probably because of Mardi Gras.
Yeah.
Is really why they're as hard hit as they are. Like, you cannot drive from Louisiana to Texas right now without a letter saying why you're coming to Texas.
Yeah.
And it better be a good letter.
It'd be a
So what do you
damn
think?
good
What do you? What do
I
you?
miss baseball.
Baseball.
I miss baseball for the so the when was it 2014 the Royals went back to the
First
the
time
World
in
Series?
15, they went
Okay.
back. They won.
Rekindled my love for baseball. I sat around all winter waiting for opening day. No opening day. I watched an opening day game from 1989. It was the Mets playing somebody
Mhm.
the other day on MLB Network. It wasn't great. Tried to watch another vintage game the other day. Not good.
Just
I
doesn't
want
feed the
live-
fire, that right? Just doesn't
I
feed
want
that.
live baseball. Talked to my cousin in Clay Center the other day. He runs the bank in town. He said, what's weird is running a bank from your bedroom. And he said, I can't wait for something live. He said, I don't care if it's badminton. He said, I don't watch bull riding, but if you guys will go back to work, I'll watch you. He said, because I want something live. And so, yeah, I never thought that the void of sports would ever come to my vocabulary and to my brain, but I miss the purity of baseball.
If you could do one thing, one activity, what would that be, Scott?
Like during quarantine, you mean?
Yeah, like if that we haven't been able to do, what is the one thing you would like to either go do or you or your fan, whatever? What is it that you would go do first and foremost?
Man, that's a.
I
don't know.
I don't know that I've I miss doing my job. I miss my job, but I'm
But do
not
you
to
miss
that
your
place.
job or do you
I'm
miss
not
the
to that
people and the
place
travel
where
and
I'm
the-
not to
you-
that place where I've got this big itch to leave yet.
Yeah.
It's like I'm very much enjoying being home, wearing a cowboy hat and boots every day and a long sleeve shirt and working and doing stuff that maybe during the course of a normal week where I was home for 3 days,
And
there
gone.
wasn't time, or I
Right.
would find something else to do instead of it.
Mhm.
The little projects we're doing, those things, being around the kids more, making meals instead of driving
Holy
through.
smokes. Talk about making meals.
And we can't
Right.
cook enough food right now.
Like it,
You can't cook enough food at one time for leftovers for lunch. You're constantly cooking, and my kids
I
are
feel that too.
constantly eating every single thing that we have in the house.
There was a Facebook post that showed the picture of the refrigerator and then the sign out said, "You're not hungry, you're
yeah,
bored."
You're bored.
yeah.
Yeah.
Limit one.
Exactly.
Limit one.
Yeah, but that's I don't ever remember cooking this much, like in a week.
It feels-
Every meal.
Like we haven't had a pizza. Like we've made a pizza, homemade pizza, but we haven't ordered.
We
a
did
pizza.
the other night.
But
we
you guys
swung
are
by
in.
Casey.
But you guys are in town.
Yeah,
so
but we
it's
even,
a 20-minute truck for me to get to town to get a pizza.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't mind having a good old Casey's
We did
pizza
Elsie's
right now.
hamburgers.
Oh,
we did
yeah.
Elsie's, not to give them a plug, but we did Elsie's. Carrie and I, the kids were doing their own thing, and so we a hamburger and
Yeah.
onion rings and did that, and it was like started eating it. The first 3 or 4 bites is like, oh man, I've kind of missed that fast. It
You
takes
mean-
about halfway
Yeah,
through.
we got
Yeah.
some the other day. Danelle brought it out, and it was like, oh man, I can't wait. And I was like, wow, this is not very
Yep.
good.
Nope. Not if you're eating at home.
Like,
and you're
I've
making
been
meals.
cooking up some good
I know.
grub.
We had
lately,
stir fry,
know?
sweet fire last
Yeah.
night. Carrie made that, bro. It was pretty good.
we ordered a Casey's pizza the other night, and it was the kids. I said, "What do you guys want?" Coming in from doing chores, and
Mhm.
They said, "Oh, we want a breakfast pizza," so we got one.
Which is pretty hard to beat.
And it was it was at night. Like sometimes you eat breakfast for dinner, and we ate. And I was like, "Wow, this is really good." Like it was just enough of a change, because it's been nice around here. We fired up the grill. I mean, we're doing all sorts of stuff outside.
We're smoking
until the last-
The only gas I'm buying is for the
24
4-wheeler and the motorcycle.
Yeah. Well, the whole change of weather sucked because we went from 75, 78 to
30 degrees.
Ice
overnight.
yesterday. It iced here.
Iced.
The whole side of my
And this
trailer was
morning.
full of
This morning
was
again.
all icicles.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some funny stuff on social media.
Okay.
Because I think we talked social media, and then we got to go back to it, because I think Tiger King has been the talk of the world, which is fine. I saw your post yesterday of this is Oklahoma, Tiger King. That was pretty close.
Was that pretty good though?
Yeah, not even being from Oklahoma, I knew like every one of those towns from
So
Rodeo.
did you see that, Scott?
Yeah, I saw that.
It's like
I saw
if the
It was pretty close.
I kept going Dell City. Oh yeah.
Well, the one that said Midwest City and has the guy on there, I'm like, man, that it looks exactly like the guy at the truck stop every time you stop in Midwest City. So
How about all the artists that are doing the anti Carol Baskin songs? Have you heard any of those?
well, they're remaking all his songs. Yeah.
Wow.
But you know what? As much play as Tiger King's getting and everything else, it just shows the way of the world, how social media can influence so much stuff so fast.
And like that.
Yeah.
And like that. Like I don't have Netflix. I didn't watch Tiger King. I don't know who Carol Baskin is.
But you've driven by those.
But I've started to
Winnie Wood
figure
up and
out
down
how
that.
stuff is. The one that I'm enjoying the most is Drew Stewart.
Yeah.
Okay. If you guys don't know who Drew is maybe the greatest team roping announcer I've ever heard in my life. He is the only guy that I can sit at a team roping and listen to and be excited about team roping.
Every run.
This guy is unbelievable.
Do you know who Drew is?
No, does he sell it pretty good?
He's
Every run, man.
yeah, originally from California, now lives in Oklahoma.
Oklahoma,
I think
yeah.
I'd be
As far as-
right.
as far as I
He's
know,
in
he's in
Oklahoma
yeah.
right now. First off, dropped a ton of weight. Congratulations, Drew Stewart, on that. Drew used to have some roping videos that he would do, and they were always funny. And he came back out this week and was like, "Hey, it's time to bring the team roping videos back out." And he's been roping the dummy at his house with a horn span of
50 inches.
for God's sakes, ever. And it is the most entertaining, funny stuff that I have seen
Drew-
on social media in a long time. So, Drew, keep it up. And
For Chris, those who
There's
don't
your
know,
plug.
he tries to rope it, and it takes him 23 tries.
yeah,
But every time, he's trying to lace it every time.
yeah, he's trying.
And he's trying,
his
and
little heart
it just
out.
keeps going through and going through and going. He finally ropes it, and then he's done. But yeah, great job.
Yeah, it was so funny what he's been doing on that, and and shout out to and Matt West and Flint Rasmussen, along with Chris Pantini from Cooper Tires. They've been doing Facebook and Instagram live stuff. Matt's been going live every night. Flint's been going live about 2 days a week.
Well, Matt has to go live every night because he has nothing else to do.
Yeah, he does. He can lift.
He lifts in the mornings, in the afternoons, and then the evenings, and he's got nothing else to do.
Which Westfit is closed, of course, right now. But I was actually on the Matt West live deal last night, just by accident, honestly. But he's been giving you an opportunity to keep up with some of the athletes. Flint's had a big question and answer session, which has been pretty entertaining. And so I think we talked about it before we went on. Western Sports has really done a pretty good job of staying in your face
Well, I think
and keeping you hooked.
what I think has been good is they've done a good job of keeping the athletes in front of us.
Right.
Because what we don't know is, or what most people don't see, is they see them on TV, and then Monday through Thursday, they are working a real job for the most part.
Yep.
And so those guys, some of them it hasn't changed their life, others it has completely changed their life. But yeah, they've done Western Sports is doing a good job all the way around. I've watched a lot of training videos on horses that guys are doing, and tips and techniques, and guys that are not normally you would ever see a Facebook post, live or anything like that.
Right.
Taking the time to say, hey, you know what? My audience is still out there. And for guys that, you know what? There's some guys that I had never even heard of until the last 2 weeks and come across them now.
Again,
and
it's given another
yeah,
platform.
it's given
and
another
research and-
yeah. And so people in the rodeo world that I would have not normally looked at, and I don't mean that in a bad way, it's just if I'm limited on who I'm going to look at, there's some I want to look at, and then I go through it. And now
Right.
it's opened me up to look at other people and other sports. I mean, I talk PBR at UFC. I didn't realize how much UFC content is out there that they do with their sport.
Mhm.
I had no idea. Like there is just the whole fight deal. The people that get on YouTube and they broadcast the fight, but you don't actually watch the fight. You're watching them talk, and
Mhm.
I had like, and there's
Well,
so
now
many
they
of
have,
those.
Now they have like the NFL football players and NBA basketball players, and they're playing Madden.
Yeah.
And they're playing, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
NBA 20, whatever the game is, and they're videoing them kind of interacting and competing. Something that's dear to my heart. You know, the first 20 years of my professional career, obviously as a coach. Yesterday I was listening to some of the athletic directors and the Big 12 commissioner and the Big 10 commissioner, and they're talking about how this is hitting them, their universities and their, the conferences. You got to think that, an SEC school is losing, $45 million in TV rights now for the
Right.
basketball,
Yeah.
whatever it is, whatever that number is. And they, as funny as it sounds, the commissioners and the athletic directors are saying, yeah, well, there's some NCAA rule that says they can't go back to playing until there's a antivirus, that they've come up with. And so they're talking about, well, if we have to play football in January, we will play football in January.
Yeah.
We will
Well,
have
I was
the
gonna say I
season.
saw that the one commissioner did come back and say, "Hey, I'm opening up video coaching this week," or whatever, I forget which division did it, and he said, "When we can play, we'll play. I don't care if it's
Yep.
May or December.
With the crowd or without
With-
the
yeah,
crowd. we're gonna
we'll
So
do
they
start
said
playing ball.
March Madness and the bowl season might be at the same time. You
Mhm.
think of that just NCAA. And so then you think about how that affects in the NFL, the NBA, the Major League Baseball. Is everything just going to be all over so they can get it in for, you think of the revenue.
Well, I mean,
for
think
Iowa,
about the
Iowa State.
yeah,
I think they're losing like $45 million, which pays for the athletic director yesterday was saying, Jamie Pollard said, listen, when you say revenue sport, what revenue sport means is if we don't have football season, our 24 other sports can't operate.
Right. The only problem that they're going to get into there is TV time.
Right.
I mean, you look at a normal Saturday
Not just
college.
that.
You look at a normal Saturday college game, though.
the consumer's pocketbook is going to be affected.
Yeah, and
you're
they-
going to have to
you
decide
can't
where
go
you're
to
going.
that many
I
deals.
mean, that's something else. That's,
And that's
Yeah. Well, places
trickle
like
down. It's just going to trickle down.
people like K-State. No, I'll say KU. Let's not even go to the K-State or the K. Let's talk about Kansas basketball. Can you imagine if Kansas basketball and Kansas football was going at the same time? There'd be nobody in the stands in the football.
no.
I mean, I'm a football guy.
Right.
Reality is, if I'm having to pick,
Between
and you
now-
just paid a lot of money for a coach too,
right,
and they're not going
so-
to get it. I mean,
But even the families. So if I've got $2,500 by season tickets or to spend on,
you're buying basketball stuff.
I'm buying basketball.
Yep.
And I'm not even a basketball guy, but
Yeah.
I would probably buy football, but that's just me. But most people are
But in where we live out here,
right.
I mean, this is. I mean, Kansas in general. It's K-State football and Kansas
Yeah,
basketball.
absolutely.
I mean, you
Right.
can love K-State, hate KU, however it works.
Yep.
You still tune in and watch KU basketball.
I can't even imagine what's like to be living in Oklahoma right now. We got good basketball and good football at the same institution,
Wow.
Hmm.
Actually, good baseball.
and good baseball.
OU's baseball team has been
Yeah,
Well, it's a-
back to. I mean,
Yeah.
anyway,
I know.
Once in
yeah,
a lifetime
talking about
deal.
once in a lifetime.
Well, the other note I put on here was, have you guys ever watched like herding dogs work?
Oh yeah, have you been watching Mora?
Yes,
Yeah.
more that he's Brazilian.
Do you know who Mora is?
So we met him down when we were staying. When
I
we went
still
to-
don't have time to be on social media. That
Shut
much.
up. Here's the thing.
I don't.
The stuff
I
that
just-
you look at on social media, if you had time to be on Matt West show last night, you have time to spend and watch 5 minutes of like Mora and those guys. So Mora didn't mean to interrupt you, but
Yeah.
he is when we were down
His
at Jose's
family-
house.
family
okay.
raised those dogs. They had a drone up in the air. Literally, they sent the dog out. He went
A long ways.
almost a mile, or at the other end of you have a road, and then you have a track of land. Then there's another road,
Yeah, it's called a
The
section.
a section,
Yeah.
right? So this dog, and the thing was, can one dog do this? Basically, this one dog literally went to the other end of the section and brought, I don't know, 120, 130 head of cattle by himself, herself, whatever.
Really?
Oh,
Really?
it was
Wow.
unbelievable. It was the whole way, brought him in, and then brought him into the holding pen.
Brought him up an alleyway, up into a wing, and
And
then
then did you see the one where the one dog loaded
Mhm.
5 yearlings?
Wow.
and handles them with ease. But then you see like where their new facility is. This particular group, he's got a new ranch, and you see 20 sets of pens. I don't know how many dog pens were there.
Yeah.
2 to 3 dogs in each
It's
one.
for real.
Dude, this is what they do all day long.
It's
And it's a whole nother side of Western sports and Western lifestyle that you don't.
Yeah.
And they're not just like breeding pups. I mean, these are employees,
Yep.
and these dogs work, and it's pretty cool to watch. But
That's pretty
yeah,
cool.
that's been fun to watch on there. I've watched a handful of. I've also found myself. They say you just type in an odd word on any social media, you see what you come up with, and I've never typed in bull riding.
Mhm.
The stuff you find
Oh,
and
wow.
see
yeah,
is
yeah,
unbelievable.
I imagine.
The bull riding from Brazil and
Mhm.
Mexico and those things, you forget. We get so caught up in what we do here that you don't see all the other social media posts that are happening around the world.
Mhm.
I'm guilty. I've watched more Justin McBride in the last week than I have in the last 5 years. Because
Pretty
it's-
handy though, wasn't he?
Absolutely. Some of those guys, you're like, man, okay. It's like the greatest of all time, Michael Jordan. There's some pretty good baseball players. I still think Jordan's the best, but that's my opinion. But then you start going back and you watch Kobe, and then you look at LeBron, and then you start going back to Pistol Pete, and then they had the Celtics Lakers final,
Mhm,
that
mhm.
whole thing,
Yeah.
and you're going, damn, Magic Johnson's pretty salty. Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, Worthy,
Yep.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, with his little sky hook. It's like, you're 9'9", and you just go,
Bleep.
and it falls every time.
Well, but you do the same thing in bull riding and rodeo. If you go back, I mean, I can remember when PBR started, and Adriano and Tough and those guys were the talk, and then all of a sudden it went to Shivers, and then Shivers to McBride, and McBride. It's trickled down to JB and now to Jazz. And then you bring in the Brazilian side, and it does the same thing. And so rodeo's the same way. I can remember in the mid '90s, the calf rope, and we've talked about it before.
Yep.
The calf rope at the NFR. That's what you wanted to watch.
Yep.
Right.
I mean, I can remember just waiting to watch Cody All and Fred Whitfield and in that whole group, Blair and Schneeberger. Like you can put that whole
Hey.
group in there in the late '90s.
Mhm.
Oh my goodness, it was good calf rope.
And then on top of that, how awesome, Jose's probably getting on some pretty damn good bulls at his own place.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
Holy
absolutely.
cow. Have you
He's
seen
not
some-
just getting on some practice.
No,
balls.
he's not at why they call them duck spinners or
Yeah,
whatever you
yeah.
call
No.
No.
And then even Marco, was
Mhm.
saying that he was working on the barrel. We were going back and forth and just saying, have you had a chance to practice? And he goes, more so than a lot of people.
Yeah.
And because, man, it's like, and then you see him post a video and you're like, gosh, what event was that? Oh, that's in the backyard.
Mhm.
That's right there by the soccer, right by the pool. And you're like, pretty salty.
Well, it just shows you again, take the time to get better, to train your mind, train your body, train your riding, because guess who is doing that right now? The Brazilians. I guarantee they're not sitting in their house playing video games this week.
I almost bought a video game
Not to
last week.
really.
And I looked down at my phone and it said, if I were to buy a gaming system, which one would I buy? And it was Cody McGee, and I went, like,
Atari. An old Atari.
what did I say? I said Atari
Start simple.
or
Work your way up.
yeah, PlayStation.
I thought about buying one for the trailer just
Get
to
an old
have,
PlayStation.
and it blew over.
I
It
had
didn't
a,
last very
that
long.
passed.
I had
Yeah.
a Nintendo type deal. I had all the old vintage games. Anyway, we could go on for hours
Yeah.
right now with this kind of stuff. We will hopefully next week we're going to give you a Western sports update. Probably not,
But here's the thing.
but we will have an update on.
We'll have an
something.
update of some sort, and as things start to shake out, I think we'll be a little farther along next week.
Yeah, I believe so.
And understand where we're at and what we're doing and where we're going, and I think that's a big thing right now.
But check out social media. Check out Drew Stewart. Check out Matt West. Check out Rump Chat's got some new stuff coming out. Matt Merritt, I know, has been working on some stuff. The Wrangler Network and David Sharp.
for the Tallman.
Flynn Rasmussen. Stay tuned for Tallman. Man, we just promote everybody on this show because
Absolutely.
we're
But
just
you know what?
some good,
It's Western
we're
sports.
good people. We want to see everybody in Western sports succeed. people have got time to do stuff. They're doing stuff. I think that's awesome. And, we'll just see how long some of it lasts. I guess I don't know.
Well, we'll continue to pray. Keep everybody safe. Keep
Yep.
your family close. And
Stay home.
Stay the flipping home.
Stay home.
As we're sitting-
Bobby Moat yesterday
We're
had
sitting in the office today, but
Right.
we literally, this office has been closed up. Nobody's been in here. We've been around each other doing chores and stuff every day. Said, let's run in and do one here so we can get it out. And
Bobby Moat had a great thing. He said yesterday he was out riding a horse through the WCRA Facebook page, and he said, remember when you were a part of that basketball team in high school and you had that one guy that just really never tried as hard as the rest of you, and the coach said, as soon as he catches up to you running lines, you guys can stop.
Yeah.
And you always looked at the guy like, come on,
Get
come
your
on.
ass going.
Well, guess what? Stay home.
Right.
Because if you stay
Exactly.
home, if the whole team stays home, the whole team can play together
You're right.
coming up pretty soon. So
Yep.
we're there.
that's our final thoughts of the day. Thank you guys for joining us here on the Two Big Guys in Grover podcast. Join us next time. We will see you then.
God bless.